Joining us now is Keren Pybus from Ethical Apparel Africa. Karen's giving us one of the keynote speeches this afternoon. We're also going to hear from a woman called Linda Ampar, who has gone through the training and is part of the training that Karen's company offers. Tell us why you chose to set up in West Africa and what makes your company different.
So for me, West Africa offers this huge opportunity to create an industry in a location that's easy access to the US, easy access to the UK in terms of a shipping point of view, but it always had an industry. But the industry has not been encouraged by the government, and also the second-hand clothing market has really flooded the region, which has meant that local manufacturers have found it very difficult to compete. So we wanted to empower the region again. You've got huge long-term opportunity it's the fourth largest cotton growing area in the world. And so if you can get that supply chain going, and textiles and garment manufacturing is one of the first easy things to help people get out of poverty. And so that was our focus, to be able to do that. And then we were working very closely with USAID as well to build capacity in that region.
How great is the appetite amongst the people of West Africa to take part in what you're offering?
Hugely. It's one of the most entrepreneurial regions that I've ever worked with. Everybody wants to kind of have their own business and work really, really hard. And so they've got really good ideas of how they want to be, but they're very proud of their work ethic. And for us as an ethical company, we work with African majority-owned factories only, and that's really important to us because those factory owners care about their workers, and the workers come first, and that's what their ethos is, as opposed to just trying to make themselves loads of money.
This is very much not about aid, it's about empowerment, I know. But how conscious are you, as a Westerner, going into Africa and telling them what to do?
So a key part for me is my team is very, very multinational. So I have 10 different nationalities working with us. And a key part of that is having locals on the team as part of that, to understand what the local culture is and understand. And I've got a lot of experience working in East and Southern Africa, and the West African culture is different again. So being able to understand that and work with them at that basis. So listening is a really, really key part of what we do at the beginning. And then being able to show them a route map that's going to help them to compete on an international stage from a compliance and quality point of view. But it's their choice what journey they want to come on.
So where do you see your organisation going? Obviously, you must have had to overcome some quite significant barriers because you were essentially starting from scratch.
Yes, absolutely, and we've only been going 3 years. We've had some incredible partnerships with USAID and GIZ that have helped us to develop the capacity building part of it, but we didn't want to be a consultancy. We wanted to be a sourcing company and bringing orders, because you can make a factory be amazing from an efficiency point of view, but if there's no orders going through it, then you've got no product to sell in that sense. So we do both things. We bring the orders, we work with brands on that side, but we also do all the capacity building, those things. And so that has meant a lot of mindset changes, a lot of challenges. We have to bring all the raw materials in at the moment because there isn't a raw material supply chain. But for me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. There's 50 plus African countries and lots of opportunity on the continent to be able to do things. So we're working in Ghana and Benin, but there's Côte d'Ivoire, there's Senegal, there's Mali, there's Burkina Faso. There's so many places that we can extend all of the learnings that we've done to equip more people and create more jobs. So a lot of our goals are around creating 5,000 jobs within the next 10 years and lifting people out of poverty and working with up to 15 different factories and those things. It's not just about sales figures.
There is a sort of preconceived idea, I suppose, that if you're talking about something that's ethically made, it's going to be more expensive, it's going to be niche, it's going to be luxury. How have you managed to turn that on its head?
So we have a theory of change, which you can see on our website, that is basically around developing factories to operational excellence. So if you can I lived in Bangladesh for 3 years, I worked in South Africa before, really understanding that if you can create operational excellence within a factory, there's enough waste that you can reduce and enough money that you can save to go into worker empowerment program and living wages. If you do that, you will reduce absenteeism, reduce labour turnover, which will improve your efficiency again, which means that as long as you can become really efficient, there's enough money to do the empowerment and things as well.
How critical is the empowerment of women in particular?
It's an interesting question because West Africa doesn't have a huge problem with empowering women in that sense. 70% of the factories we work with are owned by women. and it's a pretty even split in terms of men and women. In fact, with a programme with the development agency we were looking at the moment, they actually asked us what we were doing for the empowerment of men, because there were so many women working in that industry. And West African women are very empowered in terms of what they do. So there is always niches, and there's always areas where people are being exploited, and we subscribe to the Modern Slavery Act, even though we're not technically a big enough company to need to do it, and we work within those areas too to try and make sure that those things. But I see a lot of those problems as much with men as I do with women.
I can't stop talking to you before I mention your necklace. It would miss a trick. It's obviously West African.
It is, yes. It's from Ghana. It's made out of traditional African wax print fabric, which is what a lot of people associate the manufacturing in West Africa with, and that's a beautiful fabric and it's a great industry. But what we want to, it's not going to ever really drive a big thing. So what we're trying to do as well is bring mass production products. We work a lot with uniforms and shirts and workwear and core product. Randomly, we're experts in clergy shirts and cassocks and things like that.
Someone needs to
be. Great, they never go out of fashion. But it's a great way of bringing colour to an outfit.
It certainly is. It's a great emblem. Keren Pybus, I look forward to hearing about Ethical Apparel Africa later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.